Well, good evening, my crafty family. This is Eve with the baby's booty, and tonight we are going to be going over a topic that I feel is super important. I mean, it's actually an important topic all the way across the board. Okay, so no matter what craft that you're getting into, you need to ask beginner questions prior to getting into them. And what I've found through the years is that a lot of times we're exposed to new and different crafts. And then once you go to get into those new and different crafts, or you see people doing those new and different crafts, and you're like, oh my gosh, I totally want to do that. And then you get into it, and then, or get ready to get into it, and you're like, okay, what now? What do I do? How do I do this? How did they do that? I wanted to do that. Why can't I do that? Why can she do that? Why I can't do that? Do I have to buy that machine? What machine do I need? And so those are valid questions. However, as opposed to doing rhinestones on t-shirts, or as opposed to doing buying DTF transfers and pressing them to t-shirts, embroidery is a whole different beast. Okay. And so because of that, and I'm sorry, before I really get into this, let's just say welcome. Okay, we're going to get into it, and we're going to get into the nitty and the gritty. I do want to let you know that I am having some technical difficulties with my sugar sensor, and so my phone is going to go off. I don't know why. My reading is my sensor has been acting up today, so you may hear some extra chimes, and I'm trying to move it somewhere where it won't be quite as loud. But it does get kind of loud, so I'm gonna move it over here. And I technically can't silence it, but anyway, I can, but I can't. So that's a whole another story. But other than that, we're gonna get into it tonight, and I love this kind of show tonight. The reason being, we're going to do a project. We are actually going to embroider on a well, I got to figure out what I'm going to embroider on, because I was going to do a t-shirt, but I want it to be super beginner friendly. So I may change paths and do something a little bit different. But at any rate, um, I love the way tonight's show, I tried to make this your show. I tried to make it y'all's show, actually. So for those of you who are new, like I said, sorry about that. For those of y'all who are new and are looking to get into embroidery, or you're new and you've thought about getting into embroidery, or you're new and you know about embroidery, but you're like, I ain't trying to hear it. Please put it in the chat that you're new. Okay. If you have an embroidery machine and you haven't even touched it, put I'm new. If you've been considering it, put I'm new. If you have a machine, if you used it a couple of times, you can put I'm new as well. That works as well. I'm okay with that. But what I did do prior to this show, this earlier this weekend, I put a request in the Facebook group for those um who have been doing embroidery for quite some time, or they're familiar with embroidery, to give their, actually, let's take a look at the questions. I'm going to read the questions to you. The first question was, what are your top 3 must-have tools for a beginner to embroidery aside from thread? We already know for you to do embroidery, you have to have thread, you have to have a machine, right? But aside from that, what are your top 3 must-have tools for a beginner? Okay. And then the second question is, what one thing do you wish someone would have told you before you started embroidery? Okay. Now, for those of you who are not in the Facebook group, I'm going to give you an opportunity to answer those 2 questions as well in the chat, but not right now. We don't want to, jump ahead and confuse folks, but this is what we're going to get into tonight, and I want to welcome you to our show. Okay. Now, ordinarily, and it's no different this week. Every week the Rhinestone Mechanic creates some gorgeous rhinestone designs for you that are on sale for a 24-hour period from the time we do the show to tomorrow night. And there's no exception this week. He already has, and quite a few designs as well, some really nice ones. So definitely go check that out. The link is in the description below for the Rhinestone Mechanic. Okay. And like I said, you have 24 hours roughly to get them at the special deal. And then, of course, there's the $2 bonus file mystery folder that always has something really nice in there. So it's always $2. That price never changes. But the other designs outside of the mystery folder have their own price, but they're on sale for 24 hours. So I want to definitely point that out. So go check that out when you get an opportunity if you want some really nice rhinestone designs. And to jump ahead as well into the design that I'm wearing tonight, this particular shirt design says thriving and high-fiving. And this is a craftable things design. I want to answer this question off rip because I know you guys ask usually. But this is a Patrice design, and it's an exclusive design to Patrice's Bling box. So if you have the subscription to her Bling box, then this one just came. You should have gotten it somewhere between last week and should be coming this week if you haven't gotten it already. But that's what was in this box, and I thought it was super cute. So I blinged that for tonight. The outline, not the outline, the inside and high-fiving is the icy crystal AB. And then the shadow part at the around the word is the blue diamond. So those are the two colors that I use on this shirt. Just FYI for those who may be asking. But this is a Patrice design. It is not for sale. It is an exclusive design to her Bling box. And she does have a rhinestone design in most of her Bling boxes. I think there was only one that didn't have a rhinestone design, but that was because it was hand placed design, hand stone place type situation. But anytime she has one to bling a shirt, she has a design in there with the template. So all you got to do is brush your stones in. You don't have to cut anything. And the link to that is in the description below as well if you want to get in on the next one. All right. So saying all that to say, let's go ahead and jump in the chat. I see the mister has been starring some messages, so I'm going to try and get to those. But definitely welcome. I'm going to be kind of brief in the comment section for right now. Normally I say hello. I'm going to definitely say hi to Miss Gail Design. She's a Hoop Group member here. Miss Patricia Johnson is a Hoop Group member. Miss Ethel Smith Ames is a member. Anna Smith is a member. Linda Tolbert is a member. We also have Miss JB is a member. Karen Murray is a member. Shirley Dabney is a member here. Tanya is a member here. Hello. Let's see. We have Precious Pieces. I think I said Mary Brown. I'm not sure. Danny Crafts. Hello. Kevin Moore. Hello. Let's see. These are all members here on the channel. Smurf Creations. Hello. Shay Shay. Hello. Just Craft Therapy. Hello. Renee Meyer. We also have Lisa, MBA Creative Design. Hello, my dear. Hey, Miss Unbiased. Welcome. Unbiased LLC. Pictury Crafting. Blue Emerald Creations, Miss Sandra. Hello to all of you. You are all members. Miss So Crafty. Leslie Cash Tibbs. Josette Lovercheck. Renee Meyer. Thank y'all so much for being here. Tammy the Bag Lady. Thank you so much. Deborah Browning, definitely. Hello. Porgy Town. Hello. Let's see who else. What other members do we have? EJ's daughter is here. Welcome. Thank y'all so very, very much. And of course, I want to say hello to everyone. Thank you all for being here. But I wanted to definitely specifically say hello right then to our Hoop Group members here on this channel. So going into our topic for tonight. Well, actually, let me look at the starred messages because if I don't, it's going to be a trip. Angel B, welcome, my dear. Thank you for being here, Honey Bunny. She says she's new. Craftable Things say I'm gonna have to use those. Oh, the colors do look good. Miss Gail said hers arrived Friday. Miss Gail Design says she's been blinging for 19 months. Miss Gail, thank you so much for blinging for 19 months here on our channel. Holler. And then we've got Crafting on the Dime with Shay Shay. She's been a member for 10 months. Holla! Yes, honey. Yes, thank you for your membership milestone chat. I appreciate it. And let me go back and see who all said they were new. We definitely want to point that out as well. Let's see. Oh, it's further back. Let's see. Oh, I did have the heat press on. You got your box and ate your cookie. My cookie goes to that one back there. I try not to aggravate my stuff any more than what I already do. Carrie Crafts was already um making some awesome suggestions. Thank you so very much. Okay, so we have quite a few new folks in here. That is what's up. I didn't realize that. Okay, so we got Greg Barker is new. Shay Shay is new. Shay Shay ain't new, y'all. Don't pay her not nan lick of attention. Suzanne Go Grand Go is new. Anna Smith is new, and you want a machine. Okay, that's cool. Danny says I'm new. Tease World says I'm new. Hey, Tease World, welcome. Wonder Twins Creations, Miss Ernique, and the twins. The twins are new as well. Welcome. So cool beans. Renee Meyer is new. Tammy the Bag Lady is new. Denise Tanksley is new. Patricia Johnson is new. Dolores Hallback is new. Angel B is new. Joanne Mitchell is new. Laura Hallback. Are y'all related? Cool beans. She's new. Let's see. I'm new. I attempted to use it yesterday for the first time. It's Jazzy G. Congratulations on the attempt. That's what's up. Let's see. I made an earbud pouch this morning. Super cute on Creative Fabrica. That's what's up. Let's see. Cheryl Green tried it a little bit. She said she's new. No worry, EJ's daughter. No worries. New to embroidery, but not to embroidery machine. New. Sorry, Geneva. New, but no embroidery machine. Still interested. No worries. That's new. Let's see, who else do we have? Kristen, see, embroidery haven't even started and don't see it happening. That's no worries. And hopefully this video today will let you know for sure whether or not that's something that you'll be interested in getting into. Angela Diaz says, new, been thinking about it, but don't have a machine yet. But I do have a birthday near the end of the month. Well, hopefully something to work out for you on that. And Leslie Cash Tibb says she's new, want an embroidery machine, undecided on which one to get for a beginner. Very good question. Very good question. We'll get into that as well. All right, so let's get into it, you guys. I'm going to scroll all the way to the bottom and say hi. Let me make sure he hasn't started anything else for me. I don't see that. Okay, cool. So JV is new. Y'all, I might put this in the other room. Let me put this in the other room because if I don't, this is gonna drive me insane. And I don't need it right now. So it can just be loud in the kitchen. All right. Okay, so let's get into this. And the cool thing is, as of right now, getting into this, we have a treat for you guys. Now, this is going to be a two-part situation. I'm just letting you know that now. Two-part situation because we are going to have to, we got a treat next week as well. So it's a two-part situation. Hold on. Let me check something and see where did this go. I did something and I don't see it. Okay. So let's see. Where are you, little thing? Let's see. What does this say? Nope, that's not the right thing. Oh, that's why. That is why. That is why. That is why. Today's the 12th, so this is it right here. Okay. All right. So, are you kidding? At the bottom of the page. Oh, I didn't know that. Okay. So, let's do this. I have a treat for y'all. Let's see if we can't get this treat to work.
Hey y'all, there's a few things that I wish I knew about embroidery before I got started. One was I was going to absolutely love it. Two, It is not the easiest of crafts to get into. And 3, I wish I knew that I wanted a larger hoop size from the beginning. I started off with a 4x4, and that was just way too small for everything that I eventually wanted to do. Now, a few things that you need to know getting started. Know the difference between your stabilizers. That's super important for successful projects. And also understanding designing, understanding how the designs work, the different steps, the different color stops, and find a digitizer. You cannot embroider SVG files.
Let's talk about machine embroidery as a beginner. So you want to learn how to embroider and use either a multi-needle machine or a single needle machine. The very first thing that you need to do straight off the bat is read your manual. Read your manual, highlight anything in your manual that you feel is necessary and the things that you would like to do as an embroiderist. And I would also suggest that you play with your machine. Don't be intimidated by your machine, whether it's a single needle or a multi-needle machine. Play with the settings on your machine. Figure out what does what and just do it, okay? And then I would also say, as a beginner embroiderist, I would also learn materials. Learn your materials and learn your stabilizers. Learn what they do. Learn what you need to use them for. If you have to join some type of group in order to figure out what it is that you need to be doing, make sure that it's a group that is pertaining to your specific machine. So if you have this machine, join a group that talks about this machine, because those people in those groups will help you. So the second question was, what do I wish I would have known before I got started with machine embroidery? And the answer to that question is, I would have purchased the biggest machine / the biggest hoop that I could afford at that time. Yeah, that would be what I wish I would have known before I got started with embroidery. So if you are thinking about starting with embroidery, hopefully this is helpful to you. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Now, I want to say, before I let the video keep playing, I did not word my questions to Delonda correctly, but please still definitely listen to her message, because it still applies. It still applies to this topic tonight. It still applies.
Hello, everyone. My name is Delonda of the YouTube channel Crafting with Delonda, and Eve asked me to share a quick few things that would be important to anyone who's just getting started with crafting. And there are two things that I just want to share. Number one is an actual thing that I kind of didn't even think about or didn't think was important when I first got started with crafting, and that is a brayer. You will need a brayer at one time or another. Yes, there are other things you can use instead of a brayer, but get a brayer. It's not going to cost that much, maybe about $11. You're going to need a brayer to make sure the vinyl is adhered to the mat. The second thing is not actually a thing at all. Is something that you already have within you. You're just going to need to use it, and that is patience, because as you're learning a new craft, it's going to take time. There is no such thing as a quick little craft. That doesn't exist. It's not real. As you're learning, you're going to need to give yourself, be patient with yourself. You're going to make mistakes. You will learn a lot from your mistakes. You're going to learn more from your mistakes than you will from watching any tutorial. Okay, I promise you that. So a brayer and some patience. Hope that helps.
It still applies. It still applies, y'all. So going back, and honestly, to be super duper really honest, because my original title of this video was going to be the good, the bad, and the ugly. Honestly, Delonda's answer is the most important. And we'll get into that here in a minute. But the patience thing, the patience, y'all, you are going to have patience. Okay. But we'll get into that. We'll get into that a little bit closer towards the end of this whole live stream, because I also have others who did contribute their suggestions, and I want to share those as well. Some folks wanted to share their name, some didn't, and that's okay. But I definitely wanted you guys to be able to get these tips, because sometimes hearing it from others weighs more impact. And then once we're done hearing the suggestions from others, then we'll get into my own personal take, because I did take notes. Oh gosh, it's on the loud phone, but we did take notes, so I will need my phone. And then we'll get into showing you a couple of things that I have here that I think would be helpful as well. And then, like I said, if I haven't used up entirely too much time, then we'll go into a project really quick. All right. And it's a beginner friendly project. We'll go into that. All right. So first things first, let me pull up this. Let's see. Can I pull it up this way? Let me see if I can pull it up this way. And then if I can just, yes, I can. Oh, that's amazing. I love it when things work. Okay, so let me blow it up. Now, I'm going to share my screen and share images of the emails that I were sent with the answers, okay, that the people sent in. Some have names, some don't. And please take notes. So I'm going to give you a couple of minutes to get a pen and some paper, especially if you're a beginner. I mean, even if you've been doing embroidery for quite some time, get a pen and some paper. If you have your crafting journal, go ahead and, go ahead and get your crafting journal out. Turn to the very back of the crafting journal where you can take notes, and then you can take those notes and clean them up, dress them up a little bit, and then put them in the main part of your book. But definitely take notes, okay? Because some of this stuff, all of this stuff actually applies. But at the very tippity top, at the very, very tippity top of that page, put patience. Put patience, okay? That's going to be very important. All right. So let's share screen so that you can go ahead and see what we've got over here. So I'm going to do this. And so the first email said necessary tools. And again, the first question was, what are your top 3 must-have tools for a beginner to embroidery aside from thread? So barring thread in the machine, she said scissors, needles, and fabric. Now, some people were a little more specific, but it all applies. All right. And what one thing do you wish someone would have told you before you started embroidery? And this one was, I wish I had more information on the various hoops. More information on the various hoops. So yes, you do need to know that even no matter if you have a multi-needle embroidery machine or a single needle embroidery machine, you don't have to only use the hoops that came with that machine. Usually there are aftermarket hoops, and usually there are magnetic hoops. Some machines have stuff available and others don't. But at the end of the day, usually there are more hoops than what the machine came with. Okay, so keep that in mind. Here's another one. Whoops. This one says, what are your top 3 must-have tools for a beginner to embroidery aside from thread? And this one says the best perfect embroidery machine. So the perfect embroidery machine, stabilizer, and support from family and friends. How interesting is that? Support from family and friends. And then what one thing do you wish someone would have told you before you started? The cost of supplies. The cost of supplies. So yeah, It's not cheap here in embroidery land. It is not inexpensive. I guess that's what I should say. It is not inexpensive. So please keep that in mind. All right. The next email from Jessica Moranabella's Crafty Casa. She says the top 3 must-have tools: mighty hoops, good scissors, and a toe tension gauge, which I thought was a super cool suggestion. So a lot of times people are unfamiliar with whether or not their embroidery machine's tension is right. Well, they do make tension gauges, especially for these, mainly for the multi-needle machines. They do have tension gauges that you can attach to your thread at the top, and then you can pull at your thread with the tension gauge, and it'll let you know whether or not you have optimal tension on your embroidery machine, which is super cool. I don't have one because I was like, okay, that's too technical, above my pay grade. I've always wanted to get one, and I may do so, especially for my red line, but we'll see. Good scissors, not just scissors. She said good scissors, and we're going to go into that too. And then mighty hoops. Now, mighty hoops are mainly for your multi-needle machine options, okay? Not necessarily the single needle machines, but there are magnetic hoops available for a lot of single needle machines. So we'll get into that too. And then what one thing do you wish someone would have told you? It can get pretty expensive pretty quick. And that is definitely true. All right. And so the next email says, what are your top 3 must-have tools? She said a stiletto. She's got 4 things: stiletto, stabilizer, scissors, and your designs. And this is from Miss Louise Lynch. And what one thing do you wish someone would have told you? Have patience and be open to change the design to fit your own needs. And that is actually definitely true. The only other part to her recommendation is you really need a good software program that will allow you to change the embroidery designs. Okay. But we do have some affordable options for that as well. But let's move to the next one. This one is the 3 suggestions: embroidery machine, material, and stabilizer. We appreciate that. And then this suggestion, the top needs beyond machine and thread, is stabilizer. I love number 2, fabric to practice with. Fabric to practice with. Knowledge of how to clean the machine. That's a good one too. Knowledge of how to clean the machine. And then this person said, I wish I'd known to get at least a 5x7 hoop machine. A 4x4 is too small. All right. We'll go into that too. All right. And so this next person says, what are your top 3 must-have tools for a beginner? Tweezers and scissors, which is a very good one. Digitizing software, and how to keep the file letters on the screen and not have to go through the steps each time. That's more of a once you get into the embroidery software issue, but it's a good issue to mention. And then choosing stabilizer for each design, which is very important. And we're going to go into that as well here in a little bit. And what one thing do you wish someone would have told you before you started? Organize your files. Have software to go with your machine, and your thread selection. And notice she put in parentheses weight. Did you know that there are different weights of embroidery thread? Did you know that? Well, if you didn't, we'll talk about that tonight as well. All right. What are your top 3 must-have tools? Miss Lily says embroidery machine, your designs, and materials that you're going to use, such as fabric, vinyl, stabilizer, and the garments to embroider. And then what one thing do you wish someone would have told you? Be ready to take the time to put the machine up once you receive it. Sometimes you're like, oh, rushing, you got the machine, you just don't take the time to put it up, and then time goes by, and next thing you know, the machine is still sitting in the box. Be ready to take the time to play with your new baby. The next email says, what are your top 3 must-have tools? Curved scissors. stabilizer, cutaway, tearaway, and pre-wound bobbins. Pre-wound bobbins. So for you single needle, all you single needles, all you single needles out there, a lot of times our machines are equipped with the ability to wind our own bobbins. And that's good actually, because in a pinch, you can, if you're doing a project where the color of the thread on the top needs to match the thread on the back, well, you can wind your own bobbin in the same color as what's up top, and it'll give a nice presentation front and back. But if you don't have thread, a bobbin winder, well, you can buy pre-wound bobbins, okay? And some companies actually offer pre-wound bobbins in colors as well. So in the more popular colors, not all the colors. So that's an option that you might want to look into. But yes, pre-wound bobbins is a good one. And what one thing do you wish someone would have told you? This person says, currently, I don't have an embroidery machine yet. However, just shopping for what best suits my needs, I just had no idea they would be so expensive. Who knew that the pricing for a free arm embroidery machine would be so costly? Went over to my local sewing machine store and found that the single needles, Janome Continental M17 can cost just as much. Yes. And she says, meanwhile, I'll continue to pray, watch my favorite YouTubers, and save for the best embroidery machine for Robin's Creations. Thank you, Robin's Creations, because yes, a lot of times folks don't realize, 4x4, and we'll get into that too, but the 4x4 is a much easier price point to achieve than the multi-needle machines. Okay, you're talking about $8, $9, $10, $11, $12,000 as opposed to $600, $700 for a smaller single needle embroidery machine. So just keep that in mind if you're looking to get into it. 3 things the person said: machine, thread, Miss Cat, different backing stuff, and I wish I had known it was so expensive. Again, someone else brought that out. Embroidery machine and hoops, digitized files in the format that your machine requires. So if you're new, you have the machine, you haven't even turned it on yet, or you're new, you have the machine and you haven't gotten any designs to put in your machine yet, you're going to have to find designs in the file format for your machine. If you didn't know that, you know that now. Okay. And then stabilizer. All right. And we'll go into the file formats. What are your top 3 must-have tools? Blanks to practice on, proper notions meaning needles, the sewing needles to go in the machine, notions. You're also looking at, like, if you're doing a project that requires buttons or something like that, those are notions, the little extra thingamabobbies that go with your project. And then stabilizer. And then what one thing do you wish someone would have told you before you started? Research the software that your machine uses to ensure it does everything you want to accomplish at some point. Okay. Some machines do come with software. The single needle machines, in a lot of instances, don't, especially if you're buying them from like Walmart or whatever. They don't come with software. Okay. But again, I have a link in the description for some really good software that will help you edit embroidery designs to help them accomplish what you want them to accomplish. It's not for digitizing, but we'll get into that too. Miss Cheryl Green says her must-haves are the embroidery machine, the stabilizer, and the materials, fabric, felt, or HTV. And if a machine is given, then I would say embroidery software. And then her thing that she wished somebody had told her is hoop size does matter. And yes, girls, size does matter in embroidery. All right. And so the 3 things this person says: titanium needles, tweezers, and a can of air. Really sharp embroidery scissors. Really sharp embroidery scissors. Did I say that loud enough? Let's say it again. Really sharp embroidery scissors. Yes, that is very important. The answer to part 2 of the question would have to be Again, it applies. Patience, patience, patience. Okay. Miss Gail Charles, the embroidery machine is the one of the three things. The second thing is stabilizer and material, or the item to embroidery on. I guess these are the tools and the hoop. Okay. And then the question two, I haven't started embroidery yet. For me, it will be specifics about my machine. How do I choose which needle I need? They sent me 2 packs of 5, but they are all different. Yes, the needles are different. And there are all kinds of different types of needles. And then you also have needles with different sizes to them. So, yes, this is all super important stuff that you need to know when it's time to start doing embroidery. 3 things for a beginner: be patient. You need some type of measuring and a marking tool for placement. Thank you, Ruby Harvey. Some type of measuring and marking tool for placement. That is going to be super important in embroidery. Okay. A seam ripper. Hey, seam ripper. Lord help me. A seam ripper. Old shirts for practice, woven, and t-shirts. And then different stabilizers: tearaway, cutaway, and water soluble. Okay. What I wish someone would have told me: always double check everything before you press that start button. Get to know your machine and your software like the back of your hand. Have a notebook and record materials you use in case you want to make that design again. Okay, those are excellent, excellent suggestions. Robin Murphy, I have software that will go with your machine. I have software. The Sew It Pro will go with any embroidery machine there is out there, and it's $65. Items needed: hoops, stabilizers, and your files. Elizabeth, thank you. What I wish I knew before starting. Elizabeth says, how addicting this craft is. It is very addicting. You're welcome, our love landers. This person says, I have my machine and I used it once. However, here are my answers to your questions. Number 1, the 3 things needed is stabilizer, hoop, and fabric. The one thing I wish someone would have told me is how to really use it. How to really use it. So yeah, you got all kinds of machines out there, and each machine operates differently. So how do you use the specific machine that you have? Good questions. This person, Rosalind Lewis, says, what are the top 3 things you must have? A machine and instructions, stabilizer, and your hoops. And what I wish I would have known as a beginner embroiderer, it's all still new to me. So all advice is welcome. Once I get my machine will, it will all make sense. We're definitely going to help make sure that it all makes sense for you. And then she says, knowing the quality of thread and what to look for when you're buying it, Rosalind. Yes, there is qualities of thread out there. You can't just use any old kind of thread. You can't go to the like Joann's and just go to the thread section and just buy thread. It really needs to be embroidery thread. Why? Well, there's a reason for that. And the embroidery thread is made out of usually either nylon or rayon, because cotton thread, which is what people normally sew with, it has too many fibers that will shed into the machine. So that's why the cotton thread is not used in embroidery unless it's a project that calls for cotton thread. And so there's a lot to unbox there. So we'll get into that here in a little bit. The 3 things from Miss Norma Bates is tearaway, cutaway stabilizer, a thread stand. That's a good suggestion as well. Curved embroidery scissors. There's that suggestion again. And yes, that's very important. And number 2, she says she wished somebody would have told her to buy the embroidery machine with the largest hoop size you can afford. So that's an excellent suggestion as well. And I usually tell people to look for what you can afford. Okay. Because Miss Karen Nicholas says, because beginners make lots of mistakes, and because it's so easy for part of a garment to fall into the embroidery field and be accidentally incorporated into the embroidery design and enclosing the hoop all at the same time, a seam ripper or a stitch eraser is a must-have, especially when working with a 1 needle embroidery machine. And yes, seam ripper or stitch eraser, we'll talk about that. A razor, we'll talk about that. And we'll go into all of that because these are suggestions that are super important when it comes to doing embroidery. So let's take a quick break. We've talked about a lot and we'll go into a lot. And what I'm going to do is switch you guys over to the table and show you two things right off the bat that will be helpful to those who are beginners, so that you can utilize some stuff to make it easy for you off gate, you know. So we'll go into that. I'm gonna grab my phone, which has my notes on it as well. Meanwhile, while I'm switching you guys over and getting set up and get my phone opened up, what suggestions, if you didn't email me your suggestions, please put in the chat your, not the three things just yet that you feel are important, but what do you wish someone had told you? Those are, to me, are the more fun things. What do you wish someone would have told you? Please put that in the comment section for me, and I'm gonna switch you guys over to the cutting table, and then I'm going to also grab my phone, and I'm gonna see if I can't cut this daggone chime off some kind of which way, but also grab something else. Now, what I also want to do is do a, oh, now they're telling me to take it off. The sensor failed. Look at that. Sensor failed. Yay. Thanks a lot, you darn thing. Okay, so maybe that'll stop it from yelling. Maybe that'll stop it from yelling. All right, so the first thing I want to do is I want to show you this kit. I've shown you guys this kit before, but I'm gonna show it to you again. The link to DIME is in the description box, but this is a whole kit. Okay, this is a whole starter kit by DIME. Okay, you don't have to. There is a what do you call it? There is an affiliate link in the description, but you don't have to use it. You can just go to DIME and find this kit and purchase it. If you want to, you don't have to, but they do have kits that help you, especially with your single needle machine. Now, I want to emphasize this, especially for those with a single needle embroidery machine, because I'm being, listen, Linda, listen, hold on. Listen, Linda, listen. I gotta see you eyeball to eyeball for this one, because I just, this one is a trick. Okay, this one is a trick. So what you may not realize, I left my thing over here. Hold on, let me grab my thing. I need to plug it on me so that it'll be there whenever I want to say something. But a lot of people may not realize, honestly, that's why this channel got started. Let's tell a quick story. So once upon a time, way back in the olden days, back when you could barely find embroidery fonts, and when you did find embroidery fonts, they were $40 and $50 and, you know, all of that jazz. And embroidery designs were $20 and $30 and stuff like that. Way back in the olden days. When I got my embroidery machine, I got a single needle embroidery machine. And the single needle embroidery machine was cool and all, but there were barely any real guidance, no real instructions for the single needle embroidery machine. I even had the foresight to come online and look for training videos, something. There weren't any. As a matter of fact, the one person who I did find that was offering videos that you could watch to get the videos were like $400 to get the videos to learn how to do embroidery. And I was like, bruh, I only paid $380 something for the embroidery machine. I can't swing that. And so putting two and two together, and it was like a little piece of a video here that might have touched on one thing, and then a little piece of a video there might have touched on something else, and then a lot of mistakes along the way is how I picked up and learned how to do embroidery and reading the manual, how to do embroidery. And that's really what started this channel, because the little bit that I did learn, I wanted other people to know how to do it, because there was just very little support for that one little sewing embroidery machine from Walmart. All right. And it was like people were offering support for the bigger multi-needle machines, but nobody really wanted to help anybody with these little teeny machines. And there was a lot of what folks call gatekeeping. Like they didn't want you doing embroidery because I have an embroidery shop and you're gonna step on my toes and take my business if you get a little home embroidery machine. And that was actually furthest from the truth. But at any rate, that's what started this channel, is because there was no support for the single needle machine. So saying all that to say, that's partly why I do like DIME so much. That's partly why I like them so much, because they cater to the single needle embroidery machine folks. Okay. The single needle embroidery machine folks, that's who they specialize in. And so that's why I'm showing that right now, because yes, there are many of you in here who have a multi-needle machine, and they still have stuff that you can use with your multi-needle machine, like stabilizers, thread, stuff like that. But they definitely cater to the single needle folks. Okay. So in this kit, they have water soluble stabilizer. We'll talk about that. Cutaway stabilizer, tearaway stabilizer, embroidery threads. They have needles. They have your bobbins, and they have the embroidery compass, which I've shown you guys the compass before, which I think is totally awesome, because the compass shows you all the different fabrics that you can embroider on, all the different things that you can embroider on, from sweatshirts to hats to denim to faux fur to pile fleece to towels, terry cloth to velvet to, on this side, vinyl, sheer fabrics, knits, gauze fabric, silk, spandex. They have it all around the outside of this. And you can turn this arrow towards what you're going to use, and it'll tell you what stabilizer you really should use. It'll tell you what needle type and size you should use. And it also gives you some extra helpful comments that will help you in your journey on doing the embroidery. This you can buy. You don't even have to, it comes in this kit, but you can buy it separate if you don't want to get the kit or can't swing the kit or whatever the case may be. But this is what's in there. And I do love this, because this answers a lot of the beginners' questions, especially with the needles that a lot of folks need to know. Okay. This is really good, especially single needle folks, especially single needle folks. Okay. And so in this, let's turn it over. Here are the threads. They have 24 different colors of threads, minus the one that I took out and was using. All right, let me set that down. And then on the opposite side is the stabilizers, some extra bobbins right here. There's some needles right there in that box. Two things of metallic thread, so that you can have some fun trying metallic thread. And then some other stuff is the compass is down in here as well. Okay, so let's get into this just a little itty bitty bit, and then we'll do a quick unboxing technically as well with something else that will be helpful. This is medium cutaway stabilizer. Your medium cutaway, it says medium stitch counts on medium weight stretchy fabric such as fleece and I think that's called piqué knits. I don't know what PIQUE is. I don't know what that fabric is, but knit fabrics. Okay, so your sweatshirts, you can use medium cutaway medium cutaway stabilizer. You can use this on any medium weight fabric. It doesn't even have to be stretchy. So this is good to have medium. So notice this says medium. So what does that mean? There is also out there. That also means they have a heavy version and a light version. So you have other weights of stabilizer as well. Did you know that? Did you know there are other weights of stabilizers? Yes, there are. So you need to know that. But a lot of help with stabilizers is on here. But just keep in mind, one of the things that I do appreciate them putting on here is this says medium stitch counts. So your stitch count and the weight of your fabric will help you determine what is the best stabilizer to purchase and get and use. Okay. They also have medium tearaway, and then they have the water soluble topping. Now, what is missing from this that I would recommend that you get is some no-show mesh, especially if you intend to be doing embroidery on t-shirts. So if you're going to try your hand at doing embroidery on t-shirts, then I strongly suggest you get some no-show mesh. Okay. But they do have the water soluble topping. They also have the other water soluble stabilizer that's not in here either. So I would definitely recommend looking into all the different stabilizers that are out there. Now let's show you something else that DIME has. I did a giveaway with these once before. Next week we'll probably do another giveaway with these again. But this is a stabilizer kit, a sample book rather. And so this says inside the book, you'll find a stabilizer for every fabric. Okay. So let's look in here and I'll show you what that looks like. Let's turn it this way. And so here we have like a little sample so that you can see what it looks like. There's tear or feels like. If you want to see what all these different ones are, then you can see what they feel like. What weight no-show mesh do you recommend for t-shirts? What weight for no-show mesh usually comes in one weight. It's just no-show mesh usually. So this is tear and wash. We have washaways, the water soluble stabilizer, but we also have washaway stabilizers. You saw light and medium for no-show. Then it depends on the weight of the t-shirt. That would be my response. I'll look in here if it, like here's a no-show mesh right here, and this is the weight that I'm used to. I don't know of any other. This is just like a flimsy no-show. Oh, okay. So here's no-show light. I've never used this no-show light because this one has a grid on it. See that grid? That's what I'm used to seeing. And then if it's light, no-show light, then I'm thinking 9 times out of 10, this would be like for a onesie or for a super thin, what do you call that? Like Bella Canvas is a thinner t-shirt. Not a Bella Canvas, American Apparel, I think is the one where their t-shirts are super thin. So that's where I would use a thinner. And if your embroidery design is just super, like just lines, not a fill in. I was going to go into that tonight, but I know I can't. That's a whole nother show in explaining stabilizers and recommended embroidery designs on certain fabrics. I was going to do a embroidery design, the exact same design, but on 2 different t-shirts with 2 different stabilizers and wash them and let you see how it was going to turn out, because it's the stabilizer does matter. The stabilizer definitely does matter. But you've got tear and wash, safe tear from these folks. I mean, look at this. This is a ton of stuff. You got medium soft tear away, heavy soft tear away, light tear away, medium tear away, heavy tear away, heavy cap backing. So this is for hats. You've got extra heavy tear away, extra heavy for hats. Then you've got light cutaway, medium cutaway. Heavy cutaway, no show light, which I didn't even realize, no show poly pro performance. So this is for your sports wear, is what this is for. And then stable sports stretching knit. This is for sports wear as well. And then you have peel and stick, which is very helpful for in the hoop projects. You got sew and wash, adhesive sew and wash, fuse sew soft. So this goes on the back of the baby's onesies. You have fuse me, sew in heat. So you have wash away stabilizer, but you also have heat away stabilizer. Did you know that? You have some that you might not want to wash that particular garment, but you still want to get rid of the stabilizer. Well, this one you just iron it, not with steam, just heat, and the heat will make the stabilizer go away. Fuse and tear, fuse and stick, water soluble, and that's what's in this book. Yes, tons and tons and tons of choices, which is going to bring me to a whole nother thing here in a little bit in my notes. I got to get to my notes and I'll be able to tell you. But look, they have bigger samples so that you can, in this book, so that you can try them and see how they work with the project that you're working on. So you can go and grab a stabilizer sample kit, and it'll help you learn and determine what these stabilizers are for. And if I'm not mistaken, yes, this one has a breakdown of all the stabilizers and what you will use them for. So let's see. You asked about the no-show mesh, right? So here's no-show. Light no-show says it's for soft, sheer, stable nylon cutaway. It's designed for left chest applications with a lighter stitch count, eliminating stabilizer show through. Ideal for lightweight, light colored fabrics. It keeps outlines on track when hooped in with your knit fabric. It can be used with a tearaway for added stability. Eliminates excess bulk when used as a base for in the hoop quilting techniques. But if you use just the regular no-show mesh, it's for, again, soft sheer, stable nylon cutaway is what no-show is. It keeps outlines on track when hooped in with knit fabric. No stabilizer show through. No show in white is ideal for lightweight, light colored fabrics. It can be used with a medium weight tearaway for added stability. Widely used as a base stabilizer for in the hoop quilting projects, and it's also available in black and beige. So some of these stabilizers you actually can use, they actually come rather in colors where it's not just white. You can get the black or you can get the beige stabilizer as well. But this book goes into detail about what each one of these stabilizers does and helps you learn how to utilize them in your embroidery project. So yes, definitely, if you're super interested, who needs this book? Who needs this book? Let me explain to you who definitely needs this book. Let me listen. Thank you, unbiased. That's what I'm getting ready to go into. Shamika or anybody else. Are you trying to get into embroidery as a business? Are you trying to get into embroidery as a business? Yes, everyone can benefit from having this because knowledge is king. It's better to know what a particular stabilizer is used for, so that if you're ever presented with the odd project or whatever, yes, you'll have the knowledge of what you need to do and what you need to use in that application. But honestly, if you're not using your embroidery as a business, most of these you will never need to use them. Most of them you will never need to use them. Most of them. Okay. Most of them. But if you're going into business, you're going to be presented with situations to utilize most of these if you're going into business. This book, this kit, this compass, all of the DIME stuff for that is an excellent resource for single needle embroidery machines, especially, but you can use them anyone is at DIME, and that stands for Designs in Machine Embroidery. I do have a link below where it says my embroidery supplies. You can click there and you can go get any of the supplies on their website, or just go to DIME, Designs in Machine Embroidery, and you can find your stuff. Okay. But I wanted to show y'all the beginner's kit, which is very helpful. It's just the basic stuff that you can use to get started without having a piecemeal stuff together. You can get a whole beginner's kit, or you don't have to do it that way. If you already have some of this stuff, then you can go and you can just grab one of these if you want to. Okay. All right. So that's that. I'm going to move this out of the way because I'm going to do a quick unboxing, and then we'll go over my notes, and then I'm going to see what your recommendations were of what you wish someone would have told you. So another resource that's out there is this right here. This was I purchased this from another embroidery crafter whom I do deem a good friend in the crafting world. Many of you know So Sweet Monogramming is Miss Alexis Galloway. She has a channel, So Sweet Monogramming, and she does embroidery. And what she did was she created a My Pretty Perfect Planner. So it's the Pretty Perfect Planner, and I want to show it to you. I've shown you one before when I've bought one before, but I'm definitely going to show you again because she revamped it a little bit so that you can see it. And you don't have to have it. Okay, look, fam, I'm just showing you what's out there. But if you're getting into embroidery and you're doing embroidery and that's pretty much all you kind of really want to do, this is excellent, and I'll show you why. Okay, so this is my Pretty Perfect Planner. She also has a digital version. The link is in the description. She does also have a digital version. This is the physical version. And this is my version number 2. I already have one from back in the day, but like I said, this is the new one. Okay. Oh, no, she didn't put little cute little gifts in there. That is super sweet. Oh, I'm going to look at that later. But this is the Pretty Perfect Planner. Okay. Now, let me show you how this works. Let me show you how this works. It is definitely going to be helpful. And like I said, she has a digital version, so you don't even have to purchase the book itself. But she has all, that is so sweet. I'm going to read that note later. But she has this broken down. Now, this is kind of like team too much for me. Not this part, but the goals. And she has, where is it at? Month in review. She's got profitable products, least profitable. That's for business stuff. And I'm like, I ain't got time for that. But it will be helpful to those who want to. So like quarterly, first quarter, second quarter. I don't have quarters. I just have life. Okay. So that doesn't apply to me, but I'm sure it'll apply to you. Monthly goals. I suck at setting goals, so there's no point in me doing that. What I will do differently next month, marketing strategies that work. This is an excellent book for someone who is striving to do a business. Okay. But project name, the date of the particular project, hoop size that you used, the stitch time that it took, the stabilizer type that you used, the font name that you used, the stitch count, the design dimensions, the fabric type, the difficulty level, the supplies that you used, the thread colors, because your threads, no matter where you buy threads from, your threads are going to have numbers associated with them. And even though that's not in here, but you can put it over here in the details, your weight of thread, and we'll get in that here in a sec. But notice each one of these spools of threads have a number on the top. Can you see that? So I would put in that book, like if I did a sunflower and I made the middle orange and the petals this yellow, so I would put, project name sunflower on a baby onesie. Thread color, I would put DIME ES 134 and then DIME ES 4117. That's what I would put here. Okay. Project details, notes, and she even has a section where you can sketch out the design. Why is that helpful? Well, take it from someone who did not have this. I kind of made a little raggedy makeshift version of my own notes as I was starting out. And I can't tell you how many times I did a job for someone, did a baby blanket or something like that for someone. And then dang on 2 years later, the person is like, hey, you remember you did that blanket and now I'm having another kid and I want it with that. The way you did the writing with that was perfect. And I want this color. And you have to remember what you'd be like, I don't remember you. Where did you come from? When I did what? If your memory is anything like mine, let me back up. If your memory is like mine, you was like, I did what again? And your brain is like, who is this? I don't know who this is. This will help you remember. Okay, so if you're doing jobs for someone, for yourself rather, this is very helpful. Now, if you have a crafting journal that you've been keeping already, like you made your own with Delonda, and it's like a notebook and you can add pages, section it off for a section for embroidery. Does that make sense? Add a section for embroidery so that you'll know the back part of the book is your embroidery stuff. The front part of the book is your other type stuff. Okay. So just to help you keep things organized. Your font name, trust me, this is super duper duper important. Super important to write your font names down and where you got your font from. Okay. So yes, my Pretty Perfect planner, you don't have to get it, but it's available for someone who would like to have a journal. Like for me, I'm not that good at making my own stuff, so this is great for me because I don't have to make it. It's already made. I just go get it. But if you want to make your own, these are some important things that you want to keep in mind in your crafting journal. Okay. So there's that. I'm going to pull up my notes. While I'm pulling up my notes, let me go back in the chat. Hopefully I can, to see what your suggestions are. For, she said a sugar, I'm a hurt Shay, y'all. Oh my God. Something that you wish you had to help sugar daddy. Shay, you wrong for that. So while looking this up and scrolling through your stuff, oh, that's a good one, Tracy Murray. Get a sugar daddy right. Let me make sure I'm not missing. Okay, there we go. All right, so if there was a question that you had that I haven't already answered, you can go ahead and put that in the chat. Karen says those are the same questions I would ask. I forgot the email. No worries. Oh God, that's a good one. Print the troubleshooting page of your manual. She said, but don't tell our teacher. So I didn't see that part before I put it up on the screen. It should be all right, because sometimes some folks are trying to avoid getting a letter. Sometimes they need a letter mailed to them anyway. But yes, do the troubleshooting part of your manual. You don't have to print the whole manual. Definitely print out the troubleshooting part. Okay. Miss Sheila, hi Sheila Cushionberry. She says, I wish I had known to organize my files when I first started. OMG, didn't take long before I had tons of files all stuffed into one folder before I wised up. And yes, that is going to help you because y'all know how I am. I didn't suggest write down your font that you use just because I wanted to suggest that. I have used a font. As a matter of fact, time out. How many times have you done a project that's not even embroidery? It could be sublimation or anything, or creating a rhinestone design for crying out loud, and you use the font and you don't even remember what font it was that you used. And you're like, oh my God, what font was that? And you struggling trying to go back and figure it out. I'm just saying. Or a lot of times y'all would ask us, what font is that? Where did you get it from? You might not want to ask me that question. Maybe Delonda or Patrice, you can ask them that question. They'll probably remember where they got their font from. I don't ever remember where I got a font from. Hardly ever. Okay. The only difference I have is there's one font place, and that link is in the description below. It's not an affiliate link that I can remember. I don't think it is anyway. Is Stitchtopia. She has absolutely gorgeous script embroidery fonts. I love Stitchtopia's fonts. So I have a whole folder that says Stitchtopia because that's where I got most of those fonts from. But everybody else's fonts, I don't know where I got the fonts from. So anyway, yes, organize your fonts. Let's see, what else did I see? Let's see. They taught you threading at your thrift store. Oh Lord. She said she wished she knew how much space I would need after a few years of embroidery. So you need space for your threads. And if you like me, one little itty bitty rack of threads, like that one pack of threads that I just showed you. Yeah, no, that's it's not enough. I want all colors because my customers, I was doing this as a business though, trying to do this as a business. My customers wanted certain colors. And you gotta have the colors available, or at least the color chart to show the colors that you have access to. Let me show you a color chart for those who may have not ever seen one. I know Delonda has shown one. Patrice, I think, has shown one. But this one is the company now. DIME has thread, but from day one, I've been getting thread from Madeira, and it worked perfectly because Madeira is in Charlotte. And so when I lived in Charlotte, directly in the middle of Charlotte, I was 5 minutes from Madeira. So I would place an order, an hour later go get it, and I got my thread. Okay. So that's why, the main reason why. But this was the other reason why. Is this right here. This was the other reason why Madeira was my go-to. This was the other reason. Okay. See all these colors and shades, and it was glorious. I don't think I've ever had an instance where my customer came in and was like, this is the color that I want, and I couldn't get it for them. I never had that issue. They always was able to find the color that they wanted right here because of how massive the color spread was. And they had shades of the colors, which I absolutely loved. So Madeira also has weights of threads as well. And let me show you what that is. Just as I can. So the weights of threads that they offer are 3 different weights. And they also have fire retardant thread. Okay. So they have poly neon 40, which is your basic embroidery thread, 40 weight. So weight is not like how This is gonna sound real ratchet, but you'll be okay. It's not like how fat you are. The higher the number, the fatter you are. Well, with thread, the higher the number, the thinner the thread is, right? Because the weight. I don't know why, but it is. Okay. That's above my pay grade. But Polyneon 40 is the basic thread at Madeira, 40 weight. 60 weight is a thinner thread. So the 60 weight thread, you would use that for those teeny tiny fonts or the little teeny details. So if you're going to be doing logos, for instance, or left chest logos for customers, which are generally pretty small, they're about no more than about 3.5, 4 inches wide, sometimes maybe 4.5, rarely. Usually about 3.5 to 4 inches wide. Those are going to be small, and a lot of them have that little teeny itty bitty writing, because they want all of the stuff for their logo on there. Well, you would, instead of doing the 40 weight thread, which is thicker, you would bust down to the 60 weight thread. Okay. So kind of think of it along the lines of if you were trying to put a name on a shirt or whatever, if you were trying to use thread to sew with, you wouldn't use yarn that you would crochet with. Or let's say if you wanted to make a blanket for a baby, you might use the chunky yarn, but the chunky yarn might make a blanket that's way too big. So you just use your regular weight yarn, very soft weight yarn, and then you can make a nice delicate blanket for a baby. It's kind of similar, right? But they also have 75 weight, which is even smaller than the 60 weight. So the 75 weight is definitely for the smallest of fonts, micro fonts. And the 75 weight will allow you to stitch micro fonts and be able to see the letters clearly, because the fatter and the thicker kind of, you know what? Actually, I got a better illustration in how Patrice uses SS6 with her designs. She's able to get more detail with SS6 stones because they're smaller, whereas the SS10 stones are bigger, so you can't get quite as much detail. There's the illustration right there. So the smaller and thinner, you're able to get more details. And then, like I said, they also have fire retardant. So if you bought the fire retardant thread from Madeira, you would actually be able to embroider on, say, firemen's outfits and stuff like that. That's what that's for. It's for like the firemen, maybe possibly even the policemen. They have a fire retardant line of threads as well. And they have actually a reflective line, which is kind of pricey. It's like $75, or it used to be $75 per spool. I have a spool of that over there, and it's you can stitch and it'll have reflective on it. So that's why I liked Madeira. They also have a frosted matte line. So these are matte, which, as you can see, they're not super shiny at all. So they have a matte line that you can get. And then they also have a new line, which is called Sense of Green. And this is, it doesn't have the samples of the threads in here, but it's a really soft, I can't explain it. It's just a really pretty soft looking thread. And I have a couple of spools of that, not a lot. But there's your threads there. So you'll need space if you're one like me and you do collect a lot of thread. Let's say take it out of the box before the 1-year warranty expires. Amen. I did that with Cricut. Did not take it out of the box. Warranty expired, and they was like, "Oh, too bad, it's broken." And I'm like, "Bro, I never used it." But anyway, not embroidery designs are the same. Always do a test stitch out. Tracy Murray. Actually, let me pull up my notes too. Because that's going to be a soapbox moment for me. I have a huge, that's going to be a pet peeve moment for me. I'm going to get into my stuff in a minute. Hopefully I'll remember Tracy Murray. I'm sure I will, because that's a pet peeve, and we'll get into that. Different size needles to achieve different effects, like a 65-9 for small embroidery, text, etc., which again also goes hand in hand with the thinner threads. the smaller, the larger weight thread that shows like 75 weight or 60 weight, the thinner needles work good for that too. T Mont, how to load a bobbin into the bobbin case and the needles have a front and a back. Amen. Needles have a front and a back section to side to them. And if you're using a multi-needle machine, it's even harder to figure that out. Because at least with the single needle machines, they use the exact same needles as a sewing machine. So a needle for a sewing machine has a flat back side to it, and you use that for letting you know, excuse me, what's the front and the back of the needle. The flat part goes to the back of the sewing machine or the embroidery machine. Multi-needles have a round shank, which is the part at the top of the needle. It's completely round, so it's hard to tell which is the front and the back unless you know how to find the scarf of the needle, which is a whole nother topic of discussion that we'll get into next week. The finer details about beginner embroidery stuff. Okay, so yes, Laverne Miller, how to organize files when you buy them. Yes, ma'am, because not just fonts, but designs will drive you absolutely insane. Because, and I'm gonna send you down a rabbit hole tonight. I'm warning you now. I'm going to send you down a rabbit hole. One of my absolute favorite rabbit holes. I'm going to send you down a rabbit hole. Okay? And no, it is not Creative Fabrica. Let's see what else. I wish someone would have told me they would buy. Hilarious. Yes. It's not as easy as you all make it look. I have to take more notes and bring them. Yes, no, it's not easy. It is not easy. It is not easy. But as long as you have patience, it can be simple. Okay, and we'll go over all of that. We'll have some beginners stuff. And as she says, 1 year in, it does get better. Yes. Before purchasing my machine, get what I needed and read up on the machine. Yes. Or like EJ says, watch a lot of videos before purchasing the machine. And yes, Donzel, way back in the older days. How to use the sending of the stitches from the computer, jump drive, external hard drive. Each machine is different. Yes, each machine is different. Some newer machines have Wi-Fi where you can just drag and drop it onto the machine. Some machines still use USB stick, and I even have, or had, I don't have it anymore, a machine where you use the cord. You got to use the cord tied into the machine and get your designs on there that way. Let me see if there's edge. Let's see. Okay, I think that's all the ones that I've found. Hopefully I didn't miss any. Oh, here we go. Sorry. Accurate tension is everything. Yes. Your local sewing repair shop, they can be very helpful. Yes. They can also charge, but yes. And then number 3, when patient wears, never quit because the project finalized result is minutes away. And she is correct. L. Lynch, I did not know how much it was. I apologize. I didn't know what it was because I haven't looked at it lately, so I don't know how much it was. It's been a while since I'm done. Laura McKissick, thank you so very much. I appreciate that. I really appreciate that. Oh gosh, this is also a good one. To buy from a local reputable dealer, it's easier to take the machine in when it needs to be serviced, or a local dealer who can service your machine. Now there's a caveat to that. So if you get one from a dealer, a lot of times they're going to want you to definitely bring it back to them to fix it. 2 things. Number 1, there's a cost associated with that, period. You just have to expect that. And that's something else that I'm going to talk about. And then number 2, when you take it back to get it serviced, they're going to offer you an upgrade. And we're like, oh, so would you like to upgrade your machine, perhaps? So you got to be ready for that, the upsell. Because it does, they come out with new models all the time, every year just about. So you got to be ready for that. Okay, so let's go down. And once I get to the bottom, I'm going to look at my stars. Let's see. I can see what, okay. Sometimes I have a problem when I purchase a file forgetting to check the size of the file. We'll go into that when I send you down the rabbit hole that I'm talking about. When adding embroidery to our crafting journey, how does this affect our laptops and computers? How can we keep them from crashing? You can't keep a computer or a laptop from crashing, Ms. Rosalind. Unfortunately, I hate to be the bearer of that bad news because honestly, it's not the embroidery, it's not the fonts, it's not the designs that you're downloading that's going to cause your computer to crash. Usually, what causes the computer to crash is we've went to a website and pulled up some kind of cookie that's like a malware or something like that, and it's constantly running in the background. And when you got something constantly running like that in the background, it'll bog down your computer, it'll overwhelm your computer, and it'll jack the computer up. A cheat that sometimes I'll use that will help you tremendously, and this has nothing to do with anything. This is just the inside. Hey, I just thought about it, and you really need to know. One of the things that I like to do is cut my Wi-Fi off, take the internet off the computer. Period, because the malware and the hackers, they're using the internet to attack your stuff. So if you take the internet away, they can't attack you. It's just that simple. Now, some malware will stay on there and may lie dormant until you connect to the internet again. Because the whole point in the malware is to gather your information and send it back. Okay. But you cut the internet out. A lot of times I'll cut the internet out until I'm ready to be on the internet. Then I cut it back on, use it for what I need to use it for, and then cut it right back off. Okay. So that could help. But going back to, even though the embroidery stuff doesn't keep it from crashing, the embroidery stuff for your embroidery projects generally are not large files at all. So they won't take up very much space on your computer because they just don't. Now, doing videos and music and stuff like that, that's what take up a lot of the space on your computer. Software programs take up a lot of, like Adobe programs are resource hogs. So any of those programs, stuff like that, will take up space. But the actual embroidery files and stuff themselves usually are not big at all. Will Allen, is Madeira still in Charlotte? I'm pretty sure they are. Pretty sure they are. But now you can't just take an hour and go get it. I think now you gotta give them 3-4 hours or something like that. And they have a very limited window pickup time. They prefer to ship. I have separate folders for Baby Foodie, Craftful Things, Creative Fabrica, Making with Maryland, Etsy, and others. That is an excellent suggestion. If you buy a machine at a sewing shop and they offer the free lessons, take them up on the offer. Come with your questions and ready to take notes. Yes. Amen. Definitely, Willa Allen. If my next machine is DST, can my PS files be converted to DST? If you have the right software program that will convert for you, yes. So what Pro does convert from one to the other easily. It's as simple as you pull up the design in DST, or actually you pull up the design in PES. You're like, oh, hey, here's the design. And then you do save as, and you select DST and save it. And that's how you switch it to DST. Nora Bates says she paid $300 for servicing. Yes. Jesse, $500 for servicing. Yes, it is pricey. My local dealer makes house calls. My 10 needle about $300 at home service. I used to have someone come service my machines, but he would service my sewing machines. When he came to, I was like, oh, you do sewing machines, so you should be able to do my multi-needle machines. And what he did to my multi-needle machine, I could do that. What did you doing, fam? I thought he specializes in sewing machines, so I don't use him to service my multi-needle machines. As of right now, I don't have specific classes to the B79, but we can definitely look into doing some. Did I say Sew What Pro? No, I didn't mean Sew What Pro. Sew What Pro. Sorry, I was speaking too quickly, Miss Jazzy G. All right, y'all. Let me get into my soapbox and my information that I want to give, and then, like I said, we're going to revisit this next week. Laura E says, I have been with this company for over 20 plus years. When I was receiving the magazine, she's talking about DIME, Designs and Machines Embroidery. I ordered supplies from them too. I was mad when they decided to stop selling the magazine. It was very helpful. Unfortunately, Ms. Laura E, folks is getting away from the magazine era. So, that kind of sucks a little bit. So going into my notes, first off, I would like to talk to you guys about something really simple before you get into embroidery. Before you even get into this, for those who have not bought the machine yet, and you're like, what machine should I get? Should I get, many people say get the biggest hoop I can get, or go ahead and get a multi-needle. You can. FYI, which I said it earlier, I'm going to say it again. Multi-needle machines, you're going to spend $7,000, $8,000, way on up, $12,000, $14,000 for an embroidery machine. If you finance it, it's worse because you're adding finance charges on top of the cost of the machine. And 9 times out of 10, if you're having to finance it, if they're like, hey, we offer financing, you're paying a lot extra for a name as well. Keep that in mind. That's not a bad thing. For instance, who in here would turn down a free Rolls Royce? I would say Ferrari, but I think that's a little too fast for our tastes in here, and not mine. I'm just saying. Who in here would turn down a Rolls Royce if I said, hey, this dealership down here is giving away a free Rolls Royce. Do you want it? Do you want it? It's free. Would you turn it down? It's a Rolls. Bam, with the angel popping up from the hood. Who would turn that down? Guess what? 9 times out of 10, nothing will go wrong with that car. But there is routine maintenance that you have to get done to that car. So when it's time to go take the Rolls Royce in for an oil change, the routine oil change, do you know how much a routine oil change is on a Rolls Royce? Do you know how much the tires are and how to get the tires changed? Do you know how much a burnt out headlight bulb is for a Rolls Royce? A lot of times, folks will say, go get the multi-needle machine. You can finance it. You can make payments. Yeah, that's all well and good. But guess what? Your thread, the bigger cones, cost more than the smaller cones that come in that box. Your stabilizer is bigger. You're not talking about those little rolls of stabilizer that I showed you in that box. We're talking about this kind of stabilizer right here. Here is my tearaway stabilizer for my multi-needle machine. This is the size that you're going to be buying because you're going to have bigger hoops and you need a stabilizer that's going to fit a bigger hoop. You're going to be paying more for your stabilizer. You're going to be paying more for your needles because your needles are not your standard embroidery sewing machine needles. Round shank needles, completely different. You're going to pay for those needles. Bam. The maintenance, the stuff that you have to do to it costs more than your single needle machines. I'm not trying to dissuade you at all. None whatsoever. This is all pure information. This is stuff you need to know and you need to consider. Because just like going to go buy that Rolls Royce or that Bentley or that Ferrari, hey, BMW, a BMW oil change is upwards $500 if you take it back to the dealership, where technically you need to be taking it if it's a new one to get the oil change. This stuff costs. It's not cheap. This is not an inexpensive hobby. It's not. And I don't want you to fool yourself into believing, oh, I need me a big hoop and I got to use a big hoop and da 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 da. Okay, well, if you got the funds to do it, go for it. Please do. Look, do your research, find the machine that's going to fit you, and yes, go ahead and get it. Okay? There's a cost associated with it. It just is. So just keep that in mind, please. Don't fool yourself into thinking a single needle small 4x4 machine is going to cost you in supplies the same as these multi-needle machines. It's not. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Also, you want to, on another note, you want to focus on what you want to do with your embroidery. Why is that important? Because if you wind up like I did, where I did not have a focus for my embroidery, well, I did have a focus when I first started out. When I first started out, my focus was the baby onesies, the baby blankets, baby bibs, and the bird calls. I had my focus. I knew what I was doing. I knew what I was there for. It worked great for my 4x4 hoop. It did very well to the point where I ended up buying 2 more 4x4 machines so that I could have more than one running at a time. So the 4x4 environment was really good and I knew what I was doing. But then again, I was introduced to patches. I was introduced to left chest logos. I was introduced to in the hoop project. And then all of a sudden my mind was, it was a lot. And so then I started switching focus and trying to focus on doing so many other different things at one time, to where now that I'm not doing it as a business, it's okay because I can just have fun and do what the heck I want to do. But as a business, it's insane. You have to focus and determine what you're going to be doing as a business. You have to, because if you lose focus, then you'll wind up spending more time on something that's not going to make you money. So definitely keep that in mind. You want to find your focus and hone in on that focus. That also saves you in resources, because if you're going to be just doing patches, for instance, patches are cool. Patches are simple. You can do them. You can get them done. You can give them to the customer. You ain't got to worry about tearing up no customers' clothes and stuff like that. You can do patches. They can put their own patches on if you wanted to do patches. And patches are not always big. You can do some nice small size patches, 5x7 patches, and still do very well with patches. But that eliminates the need for no show mesh, and it eliminates the need for some of those other stabilizers. You can just focus on patch stabilizer, patch supplies, stuff like that. So just keep that in mind. Find you a niche or two, and then focus there. Okay. Also, so going back to that, actually, embroidery, you can do shirts, hats, left chest logos, fronts of shirts, backs of shirts, jackets, stuff like that. So you want to, figure out what you want to do, what your interest is, and what angle you might want to go into. And then watch some videos on some folks doing that kind of stuff so that you can see, is that something that you really want to get into? Because doing jacket backs requires a bigger hoop, which requires a machine that will let you use a bigger hoop. And keep in mind, these have big hoops to them, yes. But you don't have to have a multi-needle machine in order to get a bigger hoop. You see the single needle machines that we use, they're small. But like Alexis Galloway, who has the Pretty Perfect Planner, she has the Brother single needle machines, and some of those single needle Brother machines take some pretty big daggum hoops that rival the hoops that these use. So you don't have to have a multi-needle to get a bigger hoop, okay? And you'll be spending about the same amount of money. So just keep that in mind. Also, another thing, if you're going into business, do you have thick skin? Do you have thick skin? If you're going into business, do you have thick skin? I'm saying that because you can't make everyone happy all the time. You can try, and you're going to have difficult customers. It's just, anytime you're in a customer service environment, you're going to have customers who want everything for nothing. And yeah, you can say, oh no, I know my customer, I'm going to do this and they ain't going to devalue me and all. And that's good, because I say to do that even with the Rhinestone shirts. But once you actually, like for instance, I had a customer, pretty decent customer, which is kind of ironic because the tables turned years later. Now that I sit here and think about it, that's hilarious to me. But anyway, I had a customer who requested a baby blanket for their new grandbaby, right? And so they were like, "Oh, I trust you. Do what you want to do." Blah blah. No, fam, you need to tell me what you want. Color at least something. No, I trust you. Just okay, do this color, but I trust whatever you do. And blah blah blah. Okay, I hear you. Did the blanket. Thank God, I only did half the blanket, which I'm saying half because I would embroider on the front and then put a back on the blanket and then turn it inside out, bind it and all this little jazz. Not bind it, but make the whole. It was a double layer blanket. So I just embroidered on the front. And I was like, hey, here's the design. The mother was like, I hate it. I don't like that. I don't want it. And I'm like, starting to say what I always say when I'm gobsmacked. But I was like, are you kidding? First of all, you ain't paying for it. Second of all, what gives, fam? This was gorgeous. She did. I like it. So you're going to have instances where it's like, whoo, okay, you know what? What would you like then? What would you like? Because I specifically asked what you wanted. And I was told creative license, creative freedom. What would you like? And I had to go back and redo it in the way the mother wanted, even though the grandmother requested it. So it's like you will have instances where a customer says, well, I said to do ABCXYZ. This doesn't look good. I don't like this. This doesn't look da 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 da. You're gonna have those instances. As a matter of fact, there was a situation. I wish I had a copy of it. Oh, actually, I do. Let me see if I can pull it up. Because someone I know that she has a business and she does embroidery in her business. I bet you some on this other. Oh, no, here it is. The customer says, oh, actually, it wasn't with embroidery. My apologies. So the person placed an order. This isn't embroidery, but just to show you what businesses have to deal with. This person left a Google review on this business. The customer placed an order for a print to go on a shirt. But when the customer uploaded the design to the website for them to do the shirt, the design, the customer mirrored the image. But the business tells people clearly on the page and at checkout, we mirror this for you. You don't have to mirror, so don't mirror. But the person mirrored it anyways. And so once the prints were printed, the customer was like, oh, shoot, I messed up. I'm sorry. I mirrored and I did see it on the website, but I did not mirror. I mean, I mirrored and I can you reprint them? And they were like, yeah, we'll reprint them. That's not an issue. So they reprinted them. But when she got there, they were like, okay, that's $10 because we had to reprint it. That's ink, and it wasn't on us. It was on you. And she got upset and left a 3-star out of 5-star review because she felt like, as a repeat customer who has done business with them prior, you should have done that for free. You're going to have that. You're going to have that. And I'm not saying this to scare you and to stop you from doing business. But what I'm saying is just keep in mind, this is a part of it so that when it happens to you, it's not the end of the world for you. I don't ever want you to feel that something that you're trying to do is end of the world when dealing with a frustrated and upset customer. I had to learn that the hard way, and that's very hard for me. But I have a checkmate back there that's like, okay, breathe, I'll deal with it. Or sometimes I need to be his checkmate. Fam, you good, I got it. Don't worry about it, I'll take care of it. We balance each other out, but not everybody has that. So you might have to step back and breathe a little bit before responding, because you just sometimes folks may not, and then sometimes folks will come off, because I know I come off to people sometimes wrong. They feel like I'm coming off wrong when I'm just being direct, and I'm like, oh no, I'm just answering your question. I wasn't meaning it that way. So he's taught me how to soften my responses now, and that's still hard for me, but I do. But my main focus is to answer a person's question. So anyway, that's not good. There, let me go back to my other thing because I got to get on this soapbox for the next 12 minutes. This is an important one. When you get into embroidery as a beginner, you're going to want to, at some point, I'm telling you, you're going to want to digitize. You are going to want to digitize. Did I leave my microphone over there? Yes, I did. Can y'all hear me very well? Hey, So Sweet Academy. I was just talking about you earlier, girl. Hopefully y'all can hear me. Matter of fact, you really need to hear me on this because I'm not playing with this one. This one is a pet peeve. This one is a pet peeve. And I try not to pet peeve stuff onto other people, but this is really important to me because people don't understand. They cause themselves their own problems. You're going to want to digitize at some point in your embroidery career. That's just, does anybody in here that has done embroidery for quite some time ever said, no, I don't want to digitize? Which very well could be the case, because I remember when I was doing the rhinestones and stuff, I said, no, I don't want to create my own rhinestone designs because it's not as easy as it would seem. But eventually, what am I doing? I'm designing rhinestone designs. Eventually, you're going to want to digitize. There's nothing wrong with that. There are software programs out there that will digitize for you and help you digitize. And that's all well and good. This is a very strong, very, very, very strong suggestion. Listen, Linda. Please listen. Listen, Linda, listen. If you do wind up digitizing or wanting to digitize, please take digitizing lessons. It'll help you so much. Even if you decide to use a software program to let the software program digitize for you, please, Father, please, y'all, please. And yes, I have a recommendation for you. His name is John Deere. The only reason why I'm even recommending him is because homie has been doing digitizing his whole flipping life since he was a young teenager, and his family raised him doing digitizing before there were computers. The man knows what he's talking about when it comes to laying out embroidery stitches in the proper order, in the proper tension, with the proper way to go in. Because these folks out here, you go on Creative Fabrica. I need to show you time for the rabbit hole. So I'm going to make this real brief. But on Creative Fabrica, you can go get some of these embroidery designs and you go in to stitch them out, and you blessing out your machine because your machine is breaking needles, your machine is skipping stitches and bird nesting, and you're like, why is the machine acting up? This machine is being stupid right now, and you threatening to throw the machine out the back door. It's probably not the machine's fault. It very well could be the design that you're stitching out, because the person put it in an automatic embroidery digitizing software program and handed it to you because they stitched it out and it looked okay to them, but it's not stitching properly. It's not stitching cleanly, and it's causing a problem with your machine. You have to be careful and make sure that you're getting embroidery designs from a reputable place, because if a person doesn't know how to digitize properly, they're going to eventually screw up their machine and yours. Please go learn. Please, for the love of everything. If you don't invest in anything else in your embroidery journey, like classes of anything, I don't even care what it is, everything else you can do for free, please go take this man's classes and learn how to digitize properly. Please. I'm begging you. Please do it. Then if you want to do an auto digitizing, that's fine. But then you will know how to clean it up and make sure that the stitches are laying where they're supposed to. Make sure that you're not doing bulletproof stitching. You'll make sure that your satin outlines are nice and clean and crisp, and that everything looks like it's supposed to. You don't have a whole ton of overlapping stitches, because a whole lot of overlapping stitches builds up into a bulletproof stitching, which will break needles. Please go take this man's classes. If you don't do anything else, please take this man's classes. Okay, please, please. I mean, it's a cost and it's a price. Please take this man's classes if you're going to, especially if you're going to be selling your embroidered designs. Don't tell somebody else's stuff because you got a software program that's making the embroidery design for you. I'm just saying. All right. So let's go down this rabbit hole. If I offended you with what I just said, you need to go take his classes. And then you'll see that I'm not saying that to offend you. I'm saying that because I genuinely trust and know and have taken his classes and have seen the results of proper digitizing. There's a right way and a wrong way to do something. Okay. But anyway. All right. So let's go down a rabbit hole. I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to share with y'all one of my absolute favorite embroidery design websites. Okay. One of my absolute favorite embroidery design websites is Embroidery Library. And it's EMB as in boy, library.com. EMB library.com. I'm gonna drop this in the chat because they have some really super gorgeous embroidery designs. All right. And once you sign in with them, let me see. Once you sign in with them, let me sign in. Oh gosh, come on, fam. They will you will list what your embroidery extension is. So mine is PES. You will put in, I have PES, and then after that, from now on, whenever you download a design, it'll automatically be PES. Okay. So come here, y'all. First of all, they often have awesome sales. Okay. $2 each sales. They get a freebie every month. This is absolutely gorgeous. This is free for the month of January. Look at this. 1, 2, 3 sizes that you get for free. Free. You get it for free. Okay. They also have 70% off with a code WISH70. They got another deal going on this week. It's just like as if I can't do enough. Every week they have a sale, kind of how like Rhinestone Mechanic does for us, where we have a sale every week. Well, they have a sale every week as well. I think it restarts on Tuesday. But these are all the designs that are on sale right now. Okay, so definitely check them out. It is a rabbit hole, I'm telling you now, because they have so many gorgeous designs that it's ridiculous. Miss Sharon Davenport, thank you so much for the soup chat. Holler. Yes, honey. Yes. Thank you so very, very much for the support of our channel. We appreciate it. With these guys here, they have this one design, love one another as I have loved you. John 13:34. It comes in 6.85 by 8.86, which is basically 7 by 9. This comes in 7 by 9, 5 by 7. No, not 5 by 7. This one is 6 by 7.5. This one is basically a 5 by 7 design, and this is a 4 by 4 design. They have tons of 4 by 4 designs. You can come on here. You can also sort designs by size. So say for instance, shop all designs. They have categories you can look into. Where is it at? Right here, size. You can go to 2x2, 3x3, 4x4, 5x7, 6x10, so on and so forth. You also can sort by stitch count. You can also sort by color changes. Okay. Y'all, I absolutely love, I cannot begin to express how many designs I have from this website. I am not an affiliate of these folks. They don't even have an affiliate program. I don't care. Their designs are amazing. Their designs are amazing. They have in the hoop designs and so on and so forth. But come up here, you can see right up here at the top, it says free. They even have how-tos, but you click on free, and these are the free designs right now for this month. Next month, they will have a whole nother design right here for free. Okay. So yes, definitely come check this rabbit hole out. I absolutely love them. They have sales, like I said, on the regular, and they even have like towel designs. They have embossed designs. They have in the hoop designs. They have fonts, some fonts. They even have designs that you can use where it has rhinestone embellishment places in there. They have a sister website, which is called Urban Threads. Urban Threads has really awesome designs too. A matter of fact, hold on, let me show you that as well. What time I got? I got 2 minutes. Here is let me cut the camera off. Here is, so this is Embroidery Library, but up here they have at the very top upper right hand corner, this is Urban Threads, and this one is Craft Genesis. So if you have a laser machine, Craft Genesis is for you as well. They have SVGs on Craft Genesis and laser projects, which are super cool. This is a new site, so it's kind of like they got they're just getting started. But Urban Threads is more of a trendy rhinestone, trendy embroidery designs and stuff. So like they have a lot of dragons, they have a lot of sassy stuff. They have let me see, what am I trying to say? Alternative fantasy, so they have a lot of that kind of stuff. And look, they have 80% off sale on these designs. So these are, oh my god, that is so gorgeous. Oh, wow. But they have a lot, like all of these are 80% off. Okay. So definitely check them out. They also have in the hoop, that's super pretty. Urban Threads, and like I said, they're a sister site to Embroidery Library, which as you see Embroidery Library up here in the upper left hand corner, they're up there. So these guys, it's awesome to buy from them. Let's see what they have. This is for free this month. But these guys, they have designs again all the way down to 4x4 as well as bigger. And you really don't have to edit too many of their designs at all, unless you want to like add a name to it or something. Their designs are super gorgeous. So it's a good alternative to those who don't know how to digitize, don't want to know how to digitize, and you want some really cool designs. The library at Embroidery Library, the vast library of embroidery designs they have is stupid. How many embroidery designs are on that website? It is insane. And all of them, I have yet to have an issue stitching out anything from them. Okay. So that's just a quick, was the size in that freebie? Yes. Yes, it was. Hold on. Let me show you. Share screen, entire screen. Bloop. So with this one, this is a cookie. I love their stuff too, because the sizes are right up under the designs. Easy to see. Here's a 5x5 design, and then a 4x4 design right here. This is a free one. So if you click on it, you can down. Now I'm gonna tell you this too. This is another tip I'm gonna give you. This is the exact same as it was on Embroidery Library. Let's go to Embroidery Library really quick to show you free. And then notice down here, here are the sizes. Oh no, this one didn't have a 4x4. This one did not have a 4x4, but Urban Threads did. This one is 5.5 by 5 is the smallest of this one. But this free one, yes, it is a 4x4. So what you could do with this one is you can, not stitch the I or the EL if you didn't want to. But this is also another really awesome tip suggestion. If you buy designs from their website and they have something for free or it's $2, if you have a 4x4 embroidery machine at some point, yes, 9 times out of 10, you're going to upgrade to a bigger machine. I would definitely at least get the 5x7 as well. Don't just get the 4x4 for free and not get the larger sizes. If it's for free, go ahead and get all the sizes, because when you do upgrade to a larger machine, you'll already have the larger size designs that you can go ahead and try and stitch out. It's free. Why not? Okay. So there you have it. Next week, we will go into more detail on starting out with your embroidery journey. And next week will also be a little bit more into those who want to go into business. It'll help everyone. But if you're trying to go into business with this, we got another treat for you. So definitely show back up for that. And then at some point, we will also be planning to do, because I thought I was going to be able to stitch out the shirts today with you guys tonight, but I figured I wouldn't be able to, but I was going to try. But this is, embroidery is where I started. Embroidery is my first love. And I absolutely had a blast running a small business doing embroidery. And I still don't know everything about embroidery. I still don't. I don't. I still make mistakes. I still have birds nesting. I still have hard days where you stitch through, like I did just the other day. The shirt isn't in here anymore. A friend of mine came and brought a shirt, and I was going to show y'all that, but I'll show it next week. A friend of mine brought a shirt, and it was a whole back of a shirt. It was like a 3X shirt, and it was the entire back of the shirt. And I can't remember why she didn't stitch it at her shop. I mean, her little studio, because she has a studio and she has a multi-needle Ricoma, but I can't remember why she didn't stitch it. But she brought it to me and I stitched it for her, but I had to stitch it in sections. Because when I tried to stitch it on the biggest hoop, I can't remember what happened, but y'all, I had the design lined up wrong. It wasn't lined up wrong on the shirt. It was lined up wrong in the software. So when I uploaded it to the embroidery machine to stitch it out, it stitched out, shifted over. And because I didn't line it up right in the software, on the shirt, it was lined up perfectly. And I ended up having to take all them stitches out of that shirt. And even after taking all the stitches out of this, I had to use a razor, like the kind that you shave your legs with, because my stitch eraser wouldn't get it because of the way the shirt was made and all this other jazz. So I used the razor, was able to get every single stitch out of that shirt, but it didn't matter because it was like a button down type shirt. You could still see the holes. So guess what I had to do? Guess what I had to do? And what make it so bad, it wasn't something that I could go pick up. I had to order it. A $40 shirt. So there are times where it's just not going to work and things are just going to go south. That's where that patience that Delonda was talking about, the patience that the person was talking about in the email, the patience that several people were mentioning in the chat. You're going to have patience with embroidery. You just are. And there's going to be some days it just ain't going to go right, and you just need to walk away for right now. Okay? So that's what that's about. But next week, we're definitely going to go even more into detail. Again, like I said, for those who are trying to make this a business. Okay? Also, really quick announcement for those who are interested. Greg Barker, first off, thank you so very much for the subject. Holler. Yes, honey. Yes, I was trying not to have this to be such a super serious conversation, but it needed to be a serious conversation. But sorry about that. We're gonna try to be a little more lighthearted next week, but it's just super important. And I don't want you going into this blind. But the other thing I wanted to mention is by tomorrow, because I know Greg asked and a couple other people, the Icy Crystal AB, Indigo, and if Azure isn't in there already, which I think it is, they're going to be in the buy-in. Okay, so for this month. The following month, as long as the government don't flip out on me on importing stuff or whatever the case may be, as long as I don't have any drama with that, then we'll add the others in the buy-in next month. But the Icy Crystal and Icy Crystal AB, Indigo will be in the buy-in by tomorrow. Can you give me until tomorrow? Because today was kind of heavy. And then you guys will be able to do that, and that's for this current buy-in. The buy-in no longer closes. You can shop from now. I think the cutoff is the 5th, or is it the 2nd? I think the cutoff is the 2nd, so you got another couple of weeks for the buy-in before the cutoff to get your Icy Crystal and Icy Crystal AB in, for it to ship out toward the end of the month for January. And then, like I said, it's roughly 30 days from the date you place your order to when you get it. Now, some of these colors, I'm warning you now, some of these colors, not the ices, thank goodness, but some of these colors are running right at 30 days, if not a little bit over. So just please be patient on those. But yeah, we're gonna have those in the buy-in for you guys. Okay. So aside from that, thank you so much for coming in and enjoying this information with us. It's kind of heavy embroidery. I don't want to scare you from it. Again, that's not the goal, but it's to let you be aware of what you're getting into when you do decide to go do embroidery, because it's a rabbit hole. It's an awesome rabbit hole. I absolutely love embroidery. I do love embroidery, but it's a lot of cost associated with it. And there's a lot that can go wrong with it too. It really is. Like it's not hard to make a boo-boo with embroidery. But as long as you teach and or not teach, as long as you learn, you're open to learning, just like learning digitizing properly, learning how to thread your machine properly, learning the stabilizers properly, learning how to align stuff, learn how to hoop properly. If you learn the proper techniques from folks, not from me, but from the folks that I'm learning from or have learned from that have been doing it for years and years and years, then you're saving yourself. You're learning from their mistakes. And that's all I'm trying to do, is to show you where you can go get that information and learn from others that know what the heck they're talking about, because I'm not the expert. They are. Okay. So thank you so much for coming to hang out with me. I enjoyed our conversation. If you have any questions, or if you have your own suggestions and you didn't make them in the chat tonight, drop them in the Facebook group or leave them in the comments below. Please be sure to like and subscribe to our channel and like this video. I appreciate it. And until the next time we see you all, we hope you have happy embroidering. So you guys have a great night. Thank you for coming. And until the next time we see you, bye.